Most riders think WD-40 is just a spray can for squeaky hinges. But on a motorcycle, it's practically a toolbox by itself. From rescuing soaked electronics to freeing rust-locked bolts, WD-40 can solve problems mechanics. Hope you never try fixing at home. Today, you'll learn the hidden WD-40 tricks that save money, prevent breakdowns, and keep your bike running smoother than ever. Starting with the one every rider should know before their next ride. Number 1. Break loose, rust-seized fasteners. Motorcycles live in some of the harshest environments: heat, rain, vibration, and constant exposure to the elements. Over time, that mix practically welds bolts in place. Exhaust clamps, handlebar hardware, engine mounts, and bodywork screws can all seize due to rust creeping into the threads. That's where WD-40 becomes a real problem solver. When you spray WD-40 onto a stuck bolt, it doesn't just coat the outside. The fluid penetrates deep into the threads, working its way into microscopic gaps where corrosion hides. As it seeps in, it softens the rust and weakens the bond that's locking the fastener down. After a few minutes of soaking, bolts that felt impossible to move often break free with simple hand tools. This single trick prevents stripped bolt heads, broken fasteners, and expensive repairs, issues that commonly push riders toward a shop visit. For older motorcycles or bikes stored outdoors, this method is essential. Even professional mechanics rely on penetrating oils before turning to heat or impact tools. Whenever you face a stubborn bolt, remember, a few sprays of WD-40, a little patience, and steady pressure are often all it takes to loosen it safely and avoid damaging your bike. Number 2. Rescue wet electrical connections. Motorcycle electronics are far more vulnerable to moisture than most riders realize. A simple wash, a heavy rainstorm, or even morning humidity can allow water to sneak into spark plug wells, ignition coils, switch housings, and connectors. When that happens, the engine may misfire, refuse to start, or run inconsistently. Problems that feel serious but are often caused by nothing more than trapped moisture. This is where WD-40 becomes incredibly valuable. Its name literally stands for water displacement, Formula 40, and pushing moisture away from metal surfaces is exactly what it was designed to do. A few targeted sprays around wet ignition components help drive water out of the gaps that interrupt electrical contact. As the moisture disperses, spark returns, misfires disappear, and the engine often comes back to life within minutes. Many riders keep a travel-size can under the seat for this exact emergency. It's especially useful after riding through deep puddles, pressure washing the bike, or dealing with sudden rain mid-ride. While WD-40 isn't a long-term waterproofing solution, it's one of the fastest and most reliable ways to restore proper electrical function on the spot. Once the bike is running again, the proper next step is to open connectors, dry them thoroughly, and apply dielectric grease, but WD-40 is what gets you home. Number 3. Remove tough grime, tar, and adhesive residue. Motorcycles naturally collect layers of grime that regular soap struggles to remove. Chain lube splatter, road tar, oily film from traffic, and old adhesive from stickers or tank pads can all cling stubbornly to engine covers, swing arms, wheels, and fairings. This buildup not only dulls the bike's appearance, but can also make routine maintenance harder. Fortunately, WD-40 is extremely effective at breaking down this kind of residue. When sprayed on dirty surfaces, WD-40 begins dissolving grease and softening tar almost immediately. It lifts the oily layer, so it can be wiped away with a cloth instead of scrubbing for minutes at a time. It's especially helpful for cleaning areas near the chain where lube sling accumulates, or for removing stubborn sticker glue without damaging paint. Riders also use it to loosen baked-on insects from headlights, mirrors, and front plastics. The key advantage is that WD-40 works gently but efficiently, avoiding the harshness of strong solvent-based cleaners used in some workshops. That makes it a great, accessible option for home maintenance. The only precaution is to avoid spraying near brake rotors or pads, since any oily film can reduce braking performance. With careful use, WD-40 restores surfaces quickly and leaves the motorcycle looking cleaner and sharper with minimal effort. Number 4. Lift light rust off chrome and spoke nipples. Chrome parts are some of the first areas on a motorcycle to show signs of age. Handlebars, exhaust shields, fork covers, and especially spoke nipples can develop light rust from humidity, road salt, or simple lack of cleaning. Even a thin layer of oxidation can make a polished bike look neglected. WD-40 offers a simple and surprisingly effective way to tackle this kind of surface rust without harsh chemicals or expensive restoration tools. When WD-40 is sprayed onto rusty chrome, it begins loosening the oxidation and softening the rust particles. After letting it sit for a moment, a soft steel wool pad, fine brush, or microfiber cloth can lift the rust away with gentle scrubbing. The key is using light pressure. WD-40 provides enough lubrication to reduce the risk of scratching the chrome underneath. For spoke nipples, spraying a small amount and working around the wheel gradually restores their shine. As the rust is removed, WD-40 leaves behind a thin protective film that helps slow future corrosion. This step is especially important for riders who live near the coast or store their bike in humid environments. Instead of replacing parts or paying for chrome refinishing, this quick method keeps surfaces bright, clean, and preserved year-round. Number 5. Restore shine on metal and plastic surfaces. Over time, motorcycles lose that crisp, fresh shine they had when they first rolled out of the showroom. Engine covers fade, plastic trim starts to look dull, and even painted surfaces can lose their depth from constant exposure to sun, dust, and road film. WD-40 offers a quick way to refresh these surfaces and bring back a richer, more polished appearance without reaching for expensive detailing products. When applied lightly to metal or plastic parts, WD-40 fills tiny surface imperfections and restores a smooth, uniform finish. Riders often use it on engine cases, footrest brackets, grab handles, and dull plastics to instantly revive their look. It's also a favorite trick before group rides or photos because the improvement is immediate and requires minimal effort. The product's thin protective film adds a subtle gloss while helping shield the surface from moisture and oxidation. This method works particularly well on parts that aren't severely scratched but simply look aged or worn. After spraying, it's important to buff the area thoroughly with a clean cloth. This removes excess residue and prevents dust from sticking later. While WD-40 isn't a true polish or long-term protectant, it delivers a fast, effective shine that keeps the bike looking cleaner and better maintained between deep detailing sessions. Number 6. Hide small scratches and scuffs. Even the most careful riders end up with small scratches on their motorcycle. Boots rub against side panels, bags brush against fairings, and keys or gloves can leave marks on the tank. These shallow scuffs don't justify repainting, but they can make an otherwise clean bike look worn. WD-40 provides a simple cosmetic trick to make these imperfections far less noticeable. When sprayed onto a microfiber cloth and gently applied to the scratched area, WD-40 fills the tiny grooves that cause light to scatter. This temporarily evens out the surface, reducing the contrast between the scratch and the surrounding paint or plastic. The result is a smoother-looking finish, where the scratch blends in instead of standing out. It's especially effective on clear coat marks, light abrasion from riding gear, or minor scuffs from brush and branches. Riders often use this method before rides, meetups, or photos when they want the bike to look its best without spending time on full polishing. While the effect isn't permanent, it lasts long enough for daily use and can be reapplied as needed. The trick works on both painted and plastic surfaces giving the motorcycle a cleaner and more well-kept appearance with almost no effort. Number 7. Emergency chain cleaner, not lubrication. A motorcycle's chain picks up dirt, dust, and old lubricant faster than almost any other part of the bike. Over time, this buildup creates stiff links, accelerates wear, and robs the drivetrain of smooth performance. Dedicated chain cleaners are ideal for maintenance, but when you're on the road or working with limited supplies, WD-40 can serve as a reliable backup cleaner. When sprayed onto the chain, WD-40 penetrates between the rollers and side plates, loosening compacted grime and dissolving old, sticky lubricant. This makes it easier to wipe the chain clean or brush off the debris without aggressive scrubbing. Contrary to old myths, WD-40 does not damage O-ring or X-ring chains when used as a cleaner. Its formulation is mild enough to be safe for modern sealed designs. Many riders actually use WD-40 as the first step in their routine because it removes contaminants so effectively. However, this is where many beginners make a mistake. WD-40 should never be used as the final lubricant. It lacks the staying power and protective additives needed for chain longevity. After cleaning with WD-40, the chain must be dried thoroughly and coated with proper motorcycle chain lube. This two-step approach restores smooth movement and protects the chain for thousands of miles. Number 8. Stop annoying squeaks and diagnose noisy parts. Squeaks and rattles are more than just annoying. They can make a well-maintained motorcycle feel old and neglected. Foot pegs, side stands, levers, luggage racks, and hinge points all develop friction over time, especially when dust or moisture works its way in. WD-40 offers a fast and effective way to silence these noises and identify exactly where the problem is coming from. When sprayed onto a squeaky joint, WD-40 penetrates the small gaps between metal surfaces and reduces friction almost instantly. The irritating noise typically disappears within seconds. This temporary fix is incredibly useful because it reveals which hinge or pivot point is responsible. Once you know the source, you can follow up later with the proper long-term lubrication, such as grease or a heavier oil designed for wear protection. Riders often use this method before trips, events, or inspections to quickly eliminate distracting sounds that take away from the bike's overall feel. While WD-40 won't provide a permanent solution, it acts as an excellent diagnostic tool. Instead of hunting blindly for the cause of a squeak, you can pinpoint it with just a couple of sprays and address it more thoroughly at your convenience. For everyday riding, this simple trick restores quiet operation and makes the motorcycle feel tighter and more refined. Number 9. Prevent mud from sticking. Off-road hack. Off-road riders know how quickly mud can transform a lightweight motorcycle into a heavy, sluggish machine. Thick clay and wet dirt pack into the frame, cling to the swing arm, coat the engine cases, and even wedge between the tires and fenders. This buildup not only affects handling, but also makes post-ride cleanup a frustrating chore. A light application of WD-40 before heading out can dramatically reduce how much mud sticks to the bike. When sprayed onto metal surfaces, such as the frame rails, skid plates, fork lowers, and wheel hubs, WD-40 creates a thin, slick barrier. This coating makes it harder for mud to bond tightly to the metal. Instead of forming hard clumps, the mud sheds more easily during the ride and rinses off quickly afterward. The trick is especially helpful for riders who deal with sticky clay, which tends to cling aggressively and add unnecessary weight. It's important to apply WD-40 carefully and avoid spraying it on brake rotors, pads, or tires, where any lubricant can create a safety hazard. Used correctly, this technique keeps the bike cleaner, reduces cleanup time, and protects surfaces from moisture-related wear. For frequent trail riders, it's one of the simplest ways to preserve the bike and improve the off-road experience. Number 10. Remove bug guts and baked-on road film. Every rider knows the frustration of seeing the front of their motorcycle covered in dried insects and stubborn road film after a long ride. Bug guts harden quickly, especially in warm weather, and can stick to headlights, mirrors, windshields, and painted fairings, like glue. If left too long, this buildup can stain surfaces or become increasingly difficult to remove. WD-40 provides a simple, effective way to break down these sticky residues without harming the bike's finish. When sprayed onto bug-covered areas, WD-40 softens the dried insect remains and loosens the film that bonds them to the surface. After letting it sit for a short moment, the residue wipes away with far less effort than scrubbing with soap and water alone. It's particularly useful on clear plastics and glossy paint, where aggressive cleaners might dull the surface. Riders appreciate how the spray lifts the grime without requiring harsh chemicals or excessive pressure. This method is not just for bugs. WD-40 also helps dissolve stubborn road film that collects on the lower fairings, forks, and front wheel after long highway rides. The key is applying a light mist and wiping gently to avoid scratching. Used regularly, this trick keeps the bike's front end clean, sharp, and protected from buildup that can wear down the finish over time. Number 11. Protect bare metal from humidity and salt. Bare metal components on a motorcycle are constantly exposed to conditions that promote corrosion. Moisture from rain, morning dew, coastal air, or even simple temperature changes can settle onto bolts, brackets, spokes, and unfinished metal surfaces. Add road salt into the mix, especially for riders in colder climates, and rust can form surprisingly quickly. WD-40 provides an easy, effective way to shield these vulnerable areas from the elements. A light coating of WD-40 creates a thin, water-resistant barrier that prevents moisture from clinging to metal surfaces. This protective film helps stop oxidation before it begins, making it especially useful for bikes stored outdoors, ridden year-round, or frequently exposed to wet environments. Riders often apply WD-40 to engine hardware, chain adjusters, spoke ends, and small exterior bolts to prevent them from seizing over time. The protection is temporary, but regular application keeps corrosion at bay and makes future maintenance much easier. Components are less likely to rust, threads are less prone to sticking, and the motorcycle maintains a cleaner, more cared-for appearance. For winter riders or anyone living near the coast, this simple preventive step can significantly extend the life of exposed metal parts and reduce long-term wear. Number 12. Free up sticky levers, locks, and foot pegs. With constant exposure to dust, rain, and road debris, many small moving parts on a motorcycle gradually become stiff or sluggish. Clutch and brake levers can start sticking. Ignition locks may feel gritty. Helmet locks can jam, and folding foot pegs sometimes refuse to snap back into place. These issues are usually minor, but they can quickly turn annoying or even unsafe. WD-40 offers a fast, effective way to restore smooth movement and free up components that have begun to bind. When applied to the pivot points of levers, hinges, or locks, WD-40 seeps into the tight spaces where grime builds up. It breaks down old grease, pushes out moisture, and reduces friction almost immediately. Riders often notice an instant improvement. Levers return crisply, foot pegs fold smoothly, and locks turn without resistance. This makes it an excellent first step before more involved maintenance. However, while WD-40 frees the mechanism, it doesn't provide long-term lubrication. Think of it as a cleaner and restorer, rather than a permanent fix. Once movement is restored, applying proper grease or a heavier lubricant ensures the part stays protected and functions reliably over time. Used wisely, this simple trick keeps everyday controls operating smoothly and prevents small issues from becoming bigger problems down the road. Number 13. Revive rubber and plastic parts, light use only. Rubber and plastic components on a motorcycle face. constant stress from sunlight, temperature changes, and road grime. Over time, these materials can fade, dry out, or develop a dull, worn appearance. Items like rubber boots, wiring covers, switch housings, and plastic trim often show age long before the rest of the bike. WD-40 can help restore some of that lost flexibility and shine when used carefully and in moderation. A light mist of WD-40 applied to a cloth and gently wiped onto the surface can bring back a deeper color and smoother texture. It works by filling small surface cracks and restoring a temporary sheen, which makes aged materials look fresher and more uniform. This trick is especially helpful on older bikes where rubber parts are no longer as vibrant as they once were. Many riders use it before shows or meets to quickly revive tired-looking trim. However, this is one of the few WD-40 uses that requires caution. Over-applying it or soaking certain rubber components can cause long-term softening or degradation. The key is using only a small amount and avoiding parts designed to stay dry, such as tires or rubber seals. When applied correctly, WD-40 offers a quick cosmetic boost that keeps rubber and plastic surfaces looking clean, rich, and well-maintained. Number 14. Clean and protect tools in the toolbox. Maintenance doesn't stop with the motorcycle itself. Your tools also need care to stay effective. Wrenches, sockets, pliers, and screwdrivers are constantly exposed to moisture, dirt, and leftover grease from previous jobs. Over time, this buildup can lead to rust, stiff joints, and reduced performance. WD-40 offers a simple solution for cleaning and protecting your tools so they remain reliable whenever you reach for them. A quick spray on dirty or greasy tools helps dissolve old oil, loosen grime, and lift dirt from metal surfaces. Wiping them down afterward removes contaminants that could cause corrosion or wear. The same applies to adjustable tools like pliers or torque wrenches with moving parts. WD-40 penetrates tight areas and restores smooth operation. This keeps tools functioning properly and prevents the frustration of sticky mechanisms that slow down a repair. Beyond cleaning, WD-40 leaves behind a thin protective coating that shields tools from humidity and oxidation. This is particularly helpful for riders who store their toolkits in garages, sheds, or saddlebags where moisture can accumulate. Regular treatment extends the life of your equipment and ensures everything stays in top shape. Well-maintained tools make motorcycle upkeep easier, safer, and far more enjoyable. Number 15. Remove fuel, oil stains from tanks and panels. Fuel drips and light oil mist are almost unavoidable on a motorcycle, especially during fill-ups, spirited riding, or routine maintenance. Over time, these fluids can leave dull stains or greasy marks on painted tanks, side panels, and engine covers. If not cleaned quickly, the residue can bake onto the surface under sunlight, making it difficult to remove without risking scratches. WD-40 offers a gentle but effective way to clean these stains and restore the bike's finish. When applied to areas affected by fuel or oil residue, WD-40 immediately begins breaking down the oily film that clings to the surface. Its mild formulation allows it to dissolve stubborn marks without stripping clear coat or clouding the paint. After letting it sit briefly, the residue wipes away easily with a microfiber cloth, revealing a clean and even sheen underneath. This makes it especially helpful for riders who frequently top off the tank or ride long distances where vapor and oil mist accumulate. WD-40 is also useful for removing the shadowy stains left behind by fingerprints, glove marks, or drips around filler caps and inspection ports. While it's not a substitute for full detailing products, it provides a quick, accessible cleanup solution for everyday blemishes. Used responsibly, it helps maintain the bike's appearance and keeps the bodywork looking sharp ride after ride. WD-40 might seem like a simple spray can, but on a motorcycle, it becomes one of the most versatile tools you'll ever own. From freeing rusted bolts to restoring shine, rescuing electronics, and even making off-road cleanup easier, these small tricks can save you money, prevent breakdowns, and keep your bike running and looking its best. Most riders overlook what WD-40 can really do. Now you know exactly how to use it to solve problems long before they turn into expensive repairs. If you found these tips helpful, make sure to check out our other maintenance guides. And before your next ride, take a moment to look over your bike. You might be surprised how many of these WD-40 tricks you can put to work right away. Ride safe, ride smart, and keep your machine running smooth.